What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Got some rockin' action for you guys to check out. The deck is going to be getting significantly better when the Savage Strike set comes out early next year because of the Guard Drag and Link monsters that are going to be included in the extra deck. I personally feel like Rockets are probably the biggest disappointment so far in the Vrains era, mainly when you compare Rockets to, their contemporaries. If you look at like Goki and Trickstar and Altergeist, those were played by other characters from Season 1 in the anime, just like Revolver played Rockets. And it's really interesting because Rockets, they had potential, but I think the fact that they didn't float unless they were actually like destroyed was really their downfall. Kind of reminds me a little bit of TGs, and the fact that TGs were never really played as a synchro spam deck. People just kind of played it as a control anti-meta skill drain deck because you didn't get the effects when you synchro summon, very similar to you not getting the effects of the rocket monsters when you use them for the Link summon. But the Guard Dragons will definitely help, and it allows them to not only make Borreload Savage Dragon, but just a lot of plays that they didn't have access to before. They can now play Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Also, this freaking card right here, this card is absolutely amazing. The fact that it's basically a monster reborn for like one of your, I believe it has to be, just one of your dragon monsters in the graveyard. It has to be level 4 or lower. That's what I was looking for. It has to be a level 4 or lower dragon monster. But the fact that you reborn the dragon monster and then you get to move one of your dragons into a different monster zone is just incredible. Because again, now you can kind of get the Guard Dragon started. You can play Red Eyes Metal Darkness Dragon. And it allows you to go for some very, very good plays. He is probably going to be able to, well, this was interesting here. Goes for Ancient Pixie Dragon, which that's going to lead him to Borreload Savage Dragon, then bust out the regular Boral Dragon. So we got a couple of Boral Dragon paths here. I love the fact that he is playing some cards that can stop his opponent. So when you look at this board, there's not that many monsters, but there is technically 3 disruptions here. So I think 3 disruptions is pretty good. Simplify the game state when you have these big monsters as quick as possible. However, Cyber Dragons are like, simplify the game state, Cap? We can do that. I'm going to Kaiju one Boral brother, and then I'm going to go ahead and contact Fuse for the other one, and he kind of gets wrecked here. Now, luckily, that Impermanence does do some work, and don't worry, he had Ash Blossom as well. Personally, am I the only one who's just not a fan of Galaxy Soldier? I feel like that card is just so high risk. If it gets Impermanenced or Ash Blossom, as you saw, you just lose the game because it's this monster that you have to discard, and then it puts itself in defense mode. I'm not a fan of those high risk cards like that. He tries to go for the Foolish Burial. I assume that was going to be for Cyber Dragon Core, probably, because that would have gotten him out of Cyber Dragon. He also had the Machine Duplication. Maybe that could have gotten him back in the game, but it doesn't matter because his opponent did have the Ash Blossom. He was able to get one of his Boral monsters back from the graveyard, the Borreload Dragon. I believe that this is the second duel. Maybe this is the third duel, but I'm pretty sure that there are 3 duels total. Looks like this one is against Blackwings. Blackwings do have that, he's got the Impermanence here. Maybe he'll rip it, maybe he won't. He is going to move columns, summon the Red Eyes. I don't know. Well, I feel like right there, the Skull Dread is definitely what you want in Impermanence, but he has the turn 0 red reboot. He definitely didn't see that coming because the first time I watched it, I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming either. Now, he did get another Impermanence for his troubles, but the thing is with Rockets, if you can get your Borreload Dragon, not the Savage Dragon, but the Borreload Dragon set up with a Rocket monster, you can actually start getting rid of those cards. So he's going to get rid of one of them right there. He gets another Rocket, and he has a breakthrough skill. I feel like these negate cards, not just Impermanence, but these Lost Winds and break, I feel like there's so much value in these cards, and no one plays them. He's going to go for the Needle Fiber. Unfortunately, that is going to be negated because the Borreload Dragon did target it, so he gets a negation there. During his draw phase, or during his turn, he's probably going to try to get rid of that back row as well, just so he doesn't have to actually attack blindly into it. You never know when your opponent is trolling and playing that Mirror Force, as Revolver did in the anime. That was those were some epic moments with the fucking Mirror Forces. That was actually pretty good. He ends up closing his opponent out. That big Boral Dragon field just a little too strong. Okay, here's the last duel. I was just wondering. I was like, I'm pretty sure I have 3 duels. This one is against probably the worst of the 3 decks. Speedroids, they got a new Link monster, but I'm not really a believer. Who remembers this card? All you 5Ds fans out there. He's got a Mech Lord, man. This is the matchup, by the way. This is the matchup. If you're going to be playing Mech Lord, this is definitely the matchup to have it against because you know that Speedroids will almost certainly you know, like, they're gonna synchro summon, so you're definitely gonna want it. Well, I guess Blackwings, he could have used it in that matchup too. Maybe this is next meta. He's gonna go for Needle Fiber. Goes for the Cyberse Quantum Dragon. I still haven't seen that card in the anime. I'm on like episode 55. It hasn't. Oh, you know what? I'm almost certain. Well, I'm gonna end up spoiling Vrain, so I'm not gonna say that. But well, you know, I think people know that. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure Revolver is the first person to synchro summon in the show, and then Playmaker summons that after. That's not really spoilers. People know that. I mean, look at the cover card of Savage Strike. That tells you all you need to know. Obviously, first synchro in the show. He goes for a couple of big synchro monsters. Unfortunately, Mirror Force is dropping the hammer. I feel like he probably changed his deck because in those last two duels, we didn't see Mirror Force, we didn't see any Mech Lord, so I'm guessing that these are new cards, especially with the Jar of Avarice. Like, this feels like probably the first version of his deck, and then the other two duels, he probably ended up making a different version. Now, the thing is, he is going to go for Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Back row is going to be blasted by Twin Twister. The thing is, if he can actually bait out the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, the Mech Lord will actually get rid of it for him. Let's see if he can actually bait it out. Yeah, he does, and I feel like that was actually the right play by the Speedroid player, because you don't want your opponent to get Red Eyes Metal Darkness Dragon from the deck, so you might as well just go ahead, cut the combo off. But he does have that random Mech Lord, and yeah, man, your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, that's my Crystal Wing now. And he actually goes up to 2,500. Now, he did use the Triad dice from his graveyard so he can't attack, and I believe he's going to get another attack negation with the Speedroid Manko. So that's actually kind of cool. I thought, hey, maybe he can actually pull the comeback off if he gets a good top deck. Unfortunately, Shock Surprise can be negated because Mech Lord Wizo, a lot of people forget that this card does actually have spell negation built into it. I mean, no one really summons the card, so people don't really think about it, but it does basically suck up a synchro, and then once every turn, as you can see, as he's basically controlling the duel with that effect, his opponent keeps top decking spell cards. It can actually stop their spells. If there was actually some way to just tribute summon this monster, I feel like it would have actually saw play. There was just some way of dropping his Mother Lover on the board outside of destruction. He finally goes for Black Rose Dragon. It's basically his desperation play. Effect Veiler does shut him down. When he tries to go battle phase, Link Karibo is going to take him out, and then he actually just sucks that up. A lot of people probably don't realize as well, this guy, unlike some of the other monsters like Thousand Eyes, Restrict, and Relinquish, he can just hold a billion, well, I guess you have 5 spell and trap zones, but he can hold multiple synchro monsters, so you definitely don't want to continue synchro summoning against the Mech Lord Emperor Wizel, but I guess his opponent didn't really realize that. Let's pause for one quick second and look at the deck. Alright, so this is what the deck looks like on paper. Surprisingly, it was the same deck used in every single duel. I mean, there were some cards like Storming Mirror Force and Jar of Avarice that we saw in the last duel, and it was like, okay, well, obviously he wasn't playing those the entire time. Turns out he was playing those the entire time. I mean, I think the Rokket lineup is pretty much like self-explanatory. Same thing goes with the spells and traps for Rockets. You want to run your Squib Draw, your Quick Launch, your Revolve Boot Sector? Reboot Sector Launch. Okay, I was close. I think that maybe it had Revolve in like the OCG name or something like that. These are all cards you want to run multiples of. Same thing goes with the new Guard Dragon Continuous Spell. Basically, it having that built-in Monster Reborn means that like you just gotta run the card, and it again helps facilitate your Guard Dragon plays. What I will say is, and this shouldn't be here, it should actually be somewhere down here with the ones. I gotta say, man, hopefully he doesn't get mad at this, but some of these ratios are just god awful though. I like the idea of running some of these cards in the deck, but like some of the ratios of having like 1 breakthrough skill, 1 impermanence, 1 lost win, it's like, nah, man, either just run 3 impermanence or 1 lost win or something like that. I mean, maybe with these it's okay, but I don't really get the idea, the concept of like 1 Mirror Force and like 1 Torrential. I feel like a lot of these cards should be ran at you know, maybe like multiple copies. Same thing kind of goes with Supply Squad. Supply Squad and Allure of Darkness are cards where you either want to see them like turn 1 or you just really don't want to see them at all, to be honest. I think that Ash and Ogre or other cards are, you know, these are cards that if he could probably get away with running like 2 of these. So I think that, you know, Rockets can be a pretty effective deck, especially moving with the guard dragons. I just think that like the ratios in this deck definitely need work. Also, I'm going to move this down. I don't like having cards that are like singles at the top. They need to be at the bottom. So yeah, good fundamental like philosophy with this deck, but just the execution with the ratios definitely needs work. Probably just like take out the Mech Lord Emperor, because you have to think, when Savage Strike comes out, you're basically playing against like meta decks. TGs, you know, are getting a Link Monster, so that might be another deck. You got to run cards that are good against, you know, the broad horizon of the meta. And if something like Crystron Needle Fiber comes out, that's going to throw a monkey wrench into the entire meta. So, you know, Mech Lord Emperor Weisel, not really so good if you're going second. Like you probably want some more hand traps. Cards like Torrential Tribute, Mirror Force, they generally take a lot of time, a lot of setup if you are going second. I'm a big personal fan of Lost Wind. I think it's one of the most underrated cards in the format. You know, maybe I would bump this up to 2, definitely taking permanence up to 3, and, you know, probably drop something like Mistake. Granted, Rockets don't search at all, but Mistake is one of those cards where I kind of feel like, you know, decks like Frogs and decks that can run it, you kind of want to run multiple copies of it, so that if you, you know, you do run into a deck like Sky Strikers, if you do run into Trickstar, if you do run into, you know, Goki or something like that, you flip it over against them and you just auto win the duel. Running it as a one of in a 40 card deck, you're just never going to draw. Now, if he was running like multiple trap tricks, okay, maybe, but then he'd have to also still run multiple copies of the card. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the short duels. Definitely look at the ratios of this deck if you're interested in playing Rockets, and adjust it to, you know, I guess your liking, but I would probably edit them a lot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the duel. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.